Honestly, I don't feel like enough people talk about that void, that emptiness that you feel after quitting your job. Like you had the impression that, if you quit your job, everything is going to be great. You're going to have this ample amount of freedom to design your own life. But honestly, the realities shocked me. And in this video, I'm going to highlight the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads, and the uglies that come with quitting your job to design your life of freedom. And I want to talk about how it's affected me and how it might affect you too. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sherry, and on this channel we talk about freedom as it relates to our finances, travel, and mindset. And we talk about how we can free ourselves from the limitations that hold us back from designing our freest and most autonomous life. If you are new here, please click like and subscribe to join our community of freedom seekers. So in this video, I wanted to touch on the realities, the good, the bad, the ugly that came with my experience with quitting my stable, salary-based, benefits, cushiony teaching job that I was doing for the last 4 years to chase a life of freedom and to redesign a life on my own terms. So one thing that I was really not prepared for was the reality that when you work a 9-to-5 job, that job fills your day. And you often center all of the things that you do in your day around the job. The job is almost like an anchor. It's almost like a source of stability in your day-to-day life. And we often underestimate the power that that job has to anchor us in stability. So when I quit my job, especially being a person that is very about stability, a person that is very into structure, when I quit my job, I was unprepared for the fact that removing this job from my structure and my stability and my routine would throw things off completely for me. Without the structure that the job provided, I felt like I didn't really have anything to anchor me in my day-to-day. I felt like I was waking up without a clear direction of what I was doing day-to-day. I felt like I was just raw dogging life. I just felt like confused with how I was supposed to navigate this newfound freedom. Like the reality is when you quit your job, if you are used to that structure and if it's something that you've been doing for a long time, you are not going to know what to do with yourself because you're so used to the routine of waking up at 8 a.m., getting ready. And if you have kids, getting your kids ready, dropping them off, going to work, coming back, and then cooking dinner and following that same routine. But the minute that you have that freedom, you have to figure out how you're going to account for those 9 hours or 10 hours that you spend getting ready for work, going to work, and then commuting home after work. So that was a reality that I was not prepared for. Trying to fill that void without direction was very difficult. There were times that I would wake up at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. I would, not have any appetite to eat. So that already created a bad foundation to start my day. I would spend a lot of time doom scrolling and often searching on social media for ideas and answers for how I can structure my day rather than actually just doing it. So it was a lot of wasted time, I want to say in the first 3 to 4 weeks. I also started to apply to a lot of random jobs. Because I had this idle time, I just felt like I needed to fill it with something else immediately. It made me uncomfortable to be free. It made me uncomfortable to just have 9 hours of free time that I had to fill. So what I ended up doing was mass applying to thousands of jobs online, trying to immediately fill this position of having a job with a new job, ones that I didn't even like, but just feeling how do I navigate without this job? I ended up getting interviews for teaching internationally in Japan. I got an interview for a non-teaching position that was education related in my home city. I did these interviews and I realized that I was prematurely trying to fill this void of not having a job. So I ended up having to step away, and I just decided to get back to square one and think about the reason why I actually wanted to be free. And it was because I wanted to design my own life. I wanted to create freedom on my own terms. And here I was running back with my tail between my legs into a job, into the only source of stability that I knew. And that did not work for me. I didn't want my freedom journey to be guided by this pressure of feeling like I had to fill the void of having no job immediately. In reality, I was trying to escape that discomfort, that feeling of discomfort that came from not having a job. You know, I had a reality check with myself and said, like, honestly, you are being neurotic right now. Between like the waking up, the doom scrolling, the, you know, trying to plan with ChatGPT, I just stepped away from that and I said, okay, just chill for a second and really just enjoy the feeling that comes with this freedom. Just really get into your freedom era. So at the basic level, when you quit your job and you have this idle time, you have to be grateful for the time that you now have to sit down and have a good breakfast, to work out, to have a slow, comfortable morning. So I started with that. My routine looked like get up, make your bed, put on your gym clothes, and have a good, nourishing breakfast, and then go to the gym. And after that, then I can start thinking about business and what I'm going to do next and how I'm going to level up and how am I going to design my freedom. But with this newfound freedom, I wanted to start by meeting my basic needs. Like I was running on E when I had quit my job, and I was still now trying to fill that time with a new job rather than just prioritizing my health and my nutrition and my fitness. So another thing that I wasn't prepared for was this pressure to perform freedom. So when I quit my job, I had the idea that I wanted to like quit the job so that I could have the freedom to live abroad or to teach abroad or to just travel at my leisure. And while these things were great, I just felt that I was like jumping from one extreme to the other, from having a stable job that paid me well but limited my freedom to going all in to traveling the world. And I just felt like there was no happy medium between the two. When I was not crazily applying for jobs, I was trying to plan my escape from my reality to travel the world. I realized that freedom didn't have to look dramatic and freedom didn't have to look loud. Freedom is simply the ability to choose how you lead your day. Freedom is the ability to be autonomous and have choice in how you lead your day. And it's up to me to decide how I'm going to use that freedom. It's okay to use your free will with just making a nice, healthy, nutritious breakfast. It's okay to use your free will with simply getting ready in the morning, doing your makeup, fixing your hair properly. It's okay to use your free will to work on your body and your fitness goals. It is okay to use your freedom to have a slow morning or take a slow walk in your community. These are things that I wasn't able to prioritize while I had my jobs. So these were things that I could essentially dedicate myself to in chasing my freedom. So another thing that I wasn't really prepared for was missing that community that I got from my job. So while the job did burn me out and, you know, I was very overwhelmed from my teaching job, the staff and the community that I worked in was the most amazing community that I've ever worked in my whole life as a employee, I should say. People were so warm, so friendly. The kids were very, very loving and caring. And I found myself missing the students that I taught at the school and also missing the staff. A lot of my social interaction came from the job that I was in. So now leaving that job left me in a place of like missing community and missing that social interaction that I got from my job daily. So I want to note that I didn't actually miss the job itself, but I miss the perks that came with having a job, like the connection, the social aspect, the community. All of those things were now void in my life because I quit my job. Once the new year hit, things changed for me a bit. I walked into the new year with a new mindset. Like, I'm not going to neurotically apply to thousands of jobs to fill this void. I'm not going to feel like freedom has to be big and grand and large and extreme. I'm going to approach freedom in a more conscious and stable way. So I sat with myself in the new year, and as I was writing my goals down, I started to ask myself, now that I have this era of freedom, what do I truly want to build with it? What do I find value in? What is important to me? And I wanted to move away from filling that void with jobs, with excessive applying. And I wanted to accept this space of freedom that I had. So I didn't want to just rush to start filling it with random job applications and just doing things sporadically. I wanted to truly ask myself, if this is my time, if this is the time that I asked for, then what do I want to do with it? And then I stepped into my creation era and I started to share my story about my freedom journey, because I feel that this can inspire other people. I know tons of people just in my own social group, in my own family and friend group, that are tired of their jobs, that are burnt out, that feel like their dreams are being put on hold. And I wanted to be a model and an example for other people. I started my YouTube journey and I started to build my teaching business. I started to advertise more for my reading, tutoring business, and started to recruit new clients. And I started to design my days intentionally. So I went to this masterclass, and the woman that was speaking, she talked about being intentional about your days and having 5 goals that you can check off your checklist each day to kind of guide the direction of your day. So I started doing that. I always would start my day with making my bed and putting on my gym clothes. And then I would do eating. I recently got a walking pad. I started going to the gym, stretching, doing breath work, doing meditation, and slow living. And what that looked like for me was completely slowing down. When I was working, I felt like I didn't have enough hours in the day to get everything that I wanted done. But now when I'm not working, I feel like I have that opportunity to live slowly, to take my time at the grocery store, to take my time when I'm in the shower, to take time when I'm getting myself ready, and really dedicate into my aesthetics, in my beauty, and take more time to take care of myself physically. The biggest realization that I received from this journey in quitting my job was that freedom doesn't have to be extreme. It doesn't mean that I immediately have to board a plane. Yes, I'm going to incorporate travel into my free life, but it doesn't mean that I have to impulsively do it the minute that I quit my job. Freedom can simply mean slow mornings. Freedom can mean outdoor walks, connection with nature, connection to self. Freedom can mean building something from the comfort of your home. And freedom is truly choosing and having the autonomy to create what you want within your 24 hours. Freedom doesn't have to be an escape from the previous reality that you had. It's an opportunity to create and live with more alignment. So now that I'm in my freedom era, my freedom journey, I want to say that I'm filled with gratitude. I know that this is an opportunity that not a lot of people get to have. And yes, this is an uncomfortable experience, but it has been stretching me and teaching me so many things that I was not prepared to learn. It's not the most glamorous experience all the time. Yes, I have my ups and my downs. Yes, I have my feelings of missing stability and that stable income, but I know that it is in alignment with the journey that I'm supposed to take right now. And one of my biggest lessons is to let go of control, to surrender to God, to surrender to the universe, to surrender to the world, whatever you believe in. But I believe in God. So this has been a point of surrender and letting go, letting God be the guide for me, letting God be the one to give me the direction of where I'm supposed to go next, letting God decide what my path of freedom looks like, and not putting the burden on myself and the responsibility on myself to have it all figured out and to know exactly what I'm doing going next, allowing God to be my guide and releasing that control that I felt like I needed to have my entire life. And it's been a beautiful experience. I feel like I've fallen more into my femininity. I feel like I've connected more to myself. I feel much more healthy. I used to have gut issues. Now my gut is flowing. I just feel better overall. My friends and family have said that I look better. Honestly, when you are able to connect back to self and use your freedom for health and nutrition and fitness, it pays off tenfold, because once you serve and cater to your basic needs, then you can really have the energy and the bandwidth and the presence to be able to seize all of those bigger and more grandiose goals that you have. So if you're a person that feels like you want to step into your freedom era, that maybe you want to quit your job or you have quit your job and you are trying to plan your next steps, follow this channel. So thank you so much for listening, guys. I feel so grateful for every viewer that comes in to hear my personal story and my journey. And if you're on the same journey, kudos to you. Shout outs to you for taking the opportunity to dedicate yourself to your freedom and to building and designing a life where you feel autonomous, you feel powerful, and you feel like you have choice. It's a scary experience, but it's totally worth it. Please hit subscribe if you want to follow this journey and if you want to continue to learn about how we can seize freedom through our finances, travel, and mindset. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. Peace.